The ship's hull screamed as it tore through Earth's atmosphere. Commander Sarah Chen gripped her seat restraints, watching the plasma burns spread across the viewport like veins of fire. 15 minutes ago, she'd been leading a routine patrol, mission beyond Mars. Now, something impossible was pulling her fighter craft toward a massive alien vessel that shouldn't exist. "Control, this is Phoenix 7. She spoke into her comm unit, static crackling back. "I'm being tracked by an unknown vessel. Repeat known hostile has me in some kind of beam." Only silence answered. The alien ship stretched before her, like a living cathedral made of bone and metal. Surface pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that hurt to look at directly. Organic curves twisted around technological spires in ways that defied human engineering. This wasn't just a ship. It was something that had grown rather than been built. Sarah's fighter shuddered as invisible forces guided it toward a docking bay that dilated open like an iris. Emergency lights bathed her cockpit in red as her engines died completely. Whatever was controlling her ship now had absolute power over her technology. "Well," she muttered, checking her sidearm, "this is either first contact or my funeral." The bay sealed behind her with a wet, organic sound. Atmosphere flooded, and her sensors showed it was breathable, which should have been impossible.
Ow.
Could aliens from another world have an atmosphere humans could survive? Her cockpit hissed open automatically. Sarah stepped out cautiously, her boots echoing on what looked like living metal. The walls around her pulsed with that same bioluminescent glow, casting dancing shadows that made her skin crawl. Human. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere, resonating through her bones rather than her ears. Sarah spun around, weapon drawn, but saw nothing. "Show yourself," she called out. "How beautifully defiant you are." The walls began to shift and flow like water. From the organic metal emerged a figure that made Sarah's breath catch in her throat. Tall and graceful, with pale blue skin that seemed to glow from within. Her features were almost human, but too perfect, too symmetrical. Long silver hair flowed around her shoulders like liquid mercury. But it was her eyes that held Sarah frozen, deep purple, ancient, and intelligent beyond measure. She wore what looked like living armor that moved and breathed with her body. No, not armor. The metallic substance was part of her skin, flowing and shifting like a second epidermis. "I am Zixara," the being said, her lips not quite matching the words Sarah heard. "Queen of the Dominion Fleet. And you, little human, are exactly what I've been seeking." Sarah kept her weapon raised, though her hands trembled slightly.
Right.
"Do you want with Earth?" Zixara smiled, revealing teeth that were too sharp, too white. "Earth. Your primitive world is of no interest to me. But you..." She took a step closer, and Sarah could smell something like ozone and starlight. "You are fascinating." "Stay back," Sarah warned, but her voice cracked. "Tell me, human, do you know why your species survived when so many others have fallen to?" "Our expansion?" Sarah's mind raced. This alien was talking about human survival as if it had been in question, as if her people had been tested and found worthy. The implications were staggering, because Zixara continued, now close enough, that Sarah could see the intricate patterns flowing beneath her blue skin. "You fight when you should surrender. You adapt when you should die. Show mercy when you should show strength, and strength when others would show mercy." The alien queen reached out with one long-fingered hand. Sarah jerked back, but found her feet frozen to the floor. The living metal beneath her boots had somehow anchored her in place. "You are perfect," Zixara whispered, her fingers tracing Sarah's jawline with surprising gentleness. "The perfect specimen of your species' potential." "Specimen?" Sarah's voice was barely a whisper. Zixara's smile widened. "My dear human, you have no idea what you've stumbled into. Your Earth sits at the crossroads of 3 galactic empires. Each of them wants to claim your species to use your unique qualities for their own purposes." Sarah felt the blood drain. From her face, Earth wasn't alone in the universe. Worse, it was apparently valuable to forces beyond human comprehension. "But I," Zixara continued, pulling Sarah closer with impossible strength, I have different plans for humanity. And it all begins with you. Before Sarah could respond, the alien queen held her close, her alien warmth seeping through Sarah's uniform. When Zixara spoke again, her breath was cool against Sarah's ear, sending shivers down her spine. You're mine, my human. The words echoed in Sarah's mind as darkness claimed her consciousness. Her last thought before the alien sedative took hold was a terrifying question. What did it mean to belong to an alien queen? Chapter 2. The choice Sarah woke in what could only be described as a luxury prison. The chamber was vast, with walls that shifted between transparency and opacity based on some alien whim. One moment, she could see the star-filled void outside. The next, she was enclosed in privacy. The furniture, if it could be called, that seemed to grow from the floor. When she needed it and dissolve back when she didn't, her uniform had been replaced with something that felt like liquid silk, but looked like woven starlight. The material was comfortable, but clearly alien in origin. More concerning was the thin metal band around her wrist that pulsed with the same bioluminescent patterns as the ship. You're awake. Zixara materialized from the wall itself, her form flowing out of the organic metal like a sculpture coming to life. I was beginning to worry the sedative was too strong for your physiology. Sarah backed away, testing the limits of her prison. The walls felt solid enough, but when she pushed against them, they yielded slightly like living tissue. What did you do to me? What is this thing? She held up her wrist. A translator and communication device. Also a scanner that monitors your health. I need to ensure you remain in perfect condition. For what? Zixara approached slowly, her movements hypnotically graceful. To understand that, you must first understand what your species truly is. Sit, and I will show you. Chair-like growth emerged from the floor behind Sarah. When she didn't sit, Zixara sighed a sound like wind through crystal chimes. I am not your enemy, Sarah Chen. But if you continue to view me as one, you will never comprehend the gift I'm offering. Gift. What? Sarah's voice was sharp with disbelief. You kidnapped me. What? I rescued you. Zixara's purple eyes flashed. Patrol was heading directly into Vorthok space. They would have captured you, studied you, then dissected you to understand human physiology. The hegemony would have enslaved your mind and used your body as a host for their larval offspring. I brought you here to save your life. The casual way she mentioned these horrors made Sarah's stomach churn. You're lying. Am I? Zixara gestured, and the chamber walls became transparent. Outside, space itself seemed to bend and twist around three massive fleets locked in a standstill. Each fleet looked completely different, one angular and mechanical. One, writhing with organic tentacles, and Zixara's fleet with its bone and metal aesthetic. The Vorthok supremacy, Zixara pointed to the angular ships. They believe organic life is impure and seek to mechanize all sentient species. The hegemony of flesh, she indicated the writhing vessels, views all other life as vessels for their reproduction. In my dominion, we seek balance between the organic and technological. Sarah stared at the massive fleets. Each one looked capable of sterilizing Earth's surface. What do they want with humanity? The same thing I want. Your species' greatest asset, your unpredictability. Zixara moved to stand beside Sarah, close enough that her alien warmth was palpable. Most species, when they reach spacefaring capability, fall into predictable patterns. They become either purely technological or purely organic. They conquer or they hide. They unite or they fragment. But humans do all of these things simultaneously. You wage war while composing. Poetry. You create art while developing weapons. You show compassion to enemies while being ruthless to friends. You are beautifully, impossibly contradictory. Sarah felt a chill of understanding. You want to study us? Study, preserve, cultivate? Zixara's hand found Sarah's shoulder. Each of these fleets wants to claim humanity for different purposes. The Vorthok would eliminate your emotional responses and turn you into efficient machines. The hegemony would use your bodies as breeding hosts. Both would destroy the very qualities that make you valuable. And you? Zixara's smile was mysterious. I would give you the chance to evolve, to become more than what you are while remaining essentially human. But such a transformation requires a willing partner, someone who can bridge the gap between human and dominion. The implications hit Sarah like a physical blow. You want me to be some kind of ambassador? More than that. Zixara turned to face her fully. I want you to be my mate. Sarah staggered backward. You're what? The Dominion chooses rulers through bonding, this melding of compatible consciousnesses that creates something greater than either individual. I have ruled alone for 3 centuries, but to truly understand and guide humanity's evolution, I need a human perspective permanently integrated with my own. That's insane. I'm not even the same species as you. Species is a limitation your people haven't yet transcended. The bonding process would change us both. I would gain your human intuition and creativity, while you would gain my knowledge and capabilities. Together, we could ensure humanity's survival and growth. Sarah's mind reeled. The alien queen was proposing something that was part marriage, part evolutionary leap, and entirely terrifying. What if I refuse? Zixara's expression grew sad. Then I will return you to Earth, and you can watch as the other fleets divide your species between them. The Vorthok and Hegemony grow impatient. This standoff cannot last much longer. A new voice crackled through the chamber's communication system, harsh, mechanical, and clearly alien. Sarah couldn't understand the words, but Zixara's reaction was immediate. Her bioluminescent patterns flared brighter, and the walls around them darkened. What was that? Sarah demanded. The Vorthok commander is giving me 1 rotation too. Hand you over for proper processing, or they will assume I've been corrupted by organic sentimentality and act accordingly. Sarah felt her heart race. Meaning they'll attack my fleet to take you by force. Once the shooting starts, the Hegemony will join in. The winner will claim not just you, but the right to approach your homeworld first. The situation crashed down on Sarah. She wasn't just choosing her own fate, she was choosing humanity's future. The mechanical Vorthok would turn her people into emotionless machines. The organic Hegemony would use human bodies as breeding stock. And Zixara offered partnership, but at the cost of her own humanity. How long do I have to decide? She asked quietly. 10 of your hours. The bonding ceremony itself takes 6 hours to complete, so if you agree, we must begin soon. Sarah closed, her eyes trying to process everything. When she opened them, Zixara was watching her with an expression that looked almost ... vulnerable. Why me? Sarah asked. Out of billions of humans, why did you choose me? Because when faced with the impossible, you don't break. You adapt. You survived 17 combat missions, saved the lives of crew members from 6 different nations. And when offered early retirement, you chose to keep serving. You embody the best of what humanity can be. If the bonding doesn't work, if I'm not compatible, Zixara's bioluminescent patterns pulsed slowly like a heartbeat.
Ow.
Then we both die, and humanity faces its fate without our protection. The chamber fell silent, except for the distant hum of the ship's systems. Outside the transparent walls, the 3 fleets maintained their tense standoff, weapons powered but not yet firing. Earth hung somewhere beyond the edge of sight, unaware that its future was being decided by an impossible choice. Between species, Sarah looked at her reflection in the dark portions of the wall. She saw a human woman in alien clothing standing in an impossible ship, being courted by a being who might be humanity's salvation or its doom. 10 hours to decide the fate of her entire species? No. Pressure at all. Chapter 3. The Bondat. Hours remained when Sarah made her choice. She found Zixara in what the alien queen called the heart chamber, spherical room at the center of the ship, where bioluminescent conduits converged like arteries leading to a heart. The walls pulsed with rhythmic light, and the air hummed with barely contained energy. I'll do it, Sarah said simply. Zixara turned from the central console, her purple eyes wide with surprise. You're certain? Once we begin, there's no retreat, I'm certain. Sarah stepped forward, her decision crystallizing with each word. But I have conditions. Smile played at the corners of Zixara's lips. Even now, you negotiate. Very human of you. What are your terms? First, Earth remains off limits to all 3 fleets until humanity is ready for contact. Second, any human who chooses to join your dominion does so voluntarily with full knowledge of what they're agreeing to. And third, ... Sarah took a deep breath. You help me contact my family first. They deserve to know I'm alive, even if they can't know where I am. Zixara nodded slowly. The first 2 terms are acceptable, in fact. They align with my own intentions. The third. She gestured to the wall, which displayed Sarah's personnel file. Your parents are dead, killed in the Singapore expansion wars. You have no siblings, no significant romantic attachments. Your closest relationship is with Captain Marcus Webb, your former squadron leader. Sarah felt a pang of loss. She'd been so focused on her military career that she'd never built the personal connections most people took for granted. Then let me send him a message, something to let him know I'm okay. After the bonding, we can discuss it. But Sarah, you must understand, you'll no longer be entirely human. Communicating with your former life may be ... difficult. I'll still be me, right? Zixara's expression grew complex. You'll be more than you. They both will. But the core of who you are, your memories, your personality, your values, those will remain. Will simply be enhanced and expanded. Sarah nodded, trying to suppress her fear. How does it work? The bonding process connects our consciousness through bioneural interfaces. My species developed it to share knowledge and experience directly. Between compatible minds, it creates a permanent link that allows us to function as both individuals and a unified entity. Zixara moved to the center of the chamber, where a complex arrangement of crystalline structures and organic tendrils waited. We'll each be connected to the ship's central nervous system, which will facilitate the merge. The process is ... intense. You'll experience my memories, my emotions, my entire existence, and I'll experience yours. All of it. Sarah asked, thinking of some of the darker moments in her military career. Everything that makes you who you are, your joys, your fears, your regrets, your triumphs. In return, you'll know me completely. 3 centuries of existence, the weight of leading an interstellar civilization, the loneliness of command. Sarah approached the crystalline structure. It looked like a throne made of living gems with neural interfaces that seemed to pulse with anticipation. Will I still be able to make my own decisions? Yes, though you'll have access to my knowledge and perspective when making them. Think of it as gaining a permanent advisor who shares your goals completely. An alarm suddenly blared through the chamber. Zixara's patterns flared angry red as she accessed the ship's communications. The Vorthok are moving, she announced grimly. 3 hours ahead of schedule. They're powering weapons and demanding your immediate transfer. Sarah felt her heart rate spike. How long before they attack? 47 minutes. We need to begin the bonding now, or it won't complete in time. Without hesitation, Sarah sat in one of the crystalline thrones. The neural interfaces moved toward her like curious serpents, and she forced herself to remain still as they made contact with her skin. The sensation was strange, not painful, but deeply alien. Like having her thoughts suddenly become visible, Zixara took the adjacent throne, her own interfaces connecting with practiced ease. Sarah, once we begin, you'll see things that may frighten you. My species has done terrible things in the name of survival. But remember, you're seeing them through my perspective, including my regret and desire for redemption. I understand. No, Zixara said softly. You don't, but you will. The crystalline structures began to glow, and Sarah felt her consciousness expanding beyond the boundaries of her skull. At first, it was like dreaming while awake, fragmented images and sensations that didn't quite make sense. Then the flood began. She was Zixara, young and eager, watching her homeworld burn as the Vorthok invaded. She felt the desperate fury of a species facing extinction, terrible choices that came with survival at any cost. She was Zixara, now a commander, ordering the sterilization of a plague world to prevent contamination from spreading. She felt the weight of 1 billion deaths on her conscience, justified by the trillions saved. She was Zixara, ascending to queen. accepting the neural crown that would link her to every ship in the Dominion fleet. She felt the crushing loneliness of ultimate responsibility, making decisions that would echo across centuries, but she was also still Sarah Chen, and her human perspective recontextualized everything she experienced. Where Zixara saw necessary ruthlessness, Sarah saw tragic necessity. Where the alien queen felt the burden of command, Sarah felt the strength that came from accepting that burden, and through it all, she felt Zixara experiencing her memories. In return, the alien queen gasped as she felt Sarah's first combat mission, the terror and exhilaration of aerial combat. She shuddered as she experienced the guilt Sarah carried from the civilian casualties in the Mars station incident. She marveled at the simple human joy Sarah found in watching Earth's sunrise from orbit. The process accelerated. Years of experience flashing by in seconds. Sarah felt herself changing, her neural pathways rewiring to accommodate alien knowledge and perspective. She could sense the ship around her now, feel its systems like extensions of her own body. The three fleets locked in standoff became as clear to her as if she were floating among them, and through it all, she felt Zixara's presence, growing stronger in her mind, not overwhelming her, but joining with her, creating something new and unprecedented. The bonding reached its climax as their consciousness fully merged. For a moment that felt like eternity, Sarah couldn't tell where she ended and Zixara began. They were one being with two perspectives, a hybrid consciousness that was greater than the sum of its parts. Then, gradually, their individual identities reasserted themselves. Sarah was still Sarah, but now she carried within her the knowledge and experience of a 3-century-old alien queen. Zixara remained Zixara, but now she understood humanity not as an abstract concept, but as a lived experience. "How do you feel?" Zixara asked, though Sarah could sense the question through their mental link, as well as hear it spoken. "Different. Expanded. Still me, but ... more." Sarah flexed her fingers and felt the ship's systems respond. She could access sensor data, communication channels, even weapon systems, through pure thought. "This is incredible. I understand now why humans fascinate me so completely. Your emotional complexity, your ability to hold contradictory ideas. Simultaneously, it's not a flaw to be corrected. It's evolution in action." Their moment of wonder was interrupted by another alarm. The Vorthok fleet was accelerating toward them, weapons powered and targeting systems locked. "They're not waiting for the deadline," Sarah observed, her enhanced awareness reading the tactical situation instantly. "No, they must have detected the bonding process. They know we're no longer just queen and prisoner." Sarah stood, marveling at how naturally her enhanced capabilities integrated with her human instincts. She could feel the loyalty and respect of the Dominion crew, sense their readiness to follow her commands as readily as they would Zixara's. "Then let's show them what human unpredictability looks like when it's backed by alien technology." Zixara smiled, an expression that looked different now that Sarah could sense the emotions behind it. "My thoughts exactly, my queen." The title sent a thrill through Sarah that she hadn't expected. She was no longer just a human pilot. She was co-ruler of an interstellar empire, the power to shape humanity's future. And the Vorthok were about to learn what happened when they threatened her people. Hush Hush, Chapter 4. War Among the Stars. The first Vorthok plasma lance split space where their ship had been microseconds before. Sarah's enhanced reflexes, merged with Zixara's tactical experience, anticipated the attack pattern and initiated evasive maneuvers before the enemy weapons even fired. "Impressive," Zixara commented through their mental link. "You're human. Intuition combined with our technology makes for a formidable combination." Sarah was already analyzing the battle space, her consciousness partially merged with the ship's sensors. The Vorthok fleet, Fleet 12, angular dreadnoughts, and 40, smaller escorts advanced in perfect geometric formation. Their ships looked like mechanical insects, all harsh angles and weapon arrays. Behind them, the hegemony held position, their bioships writhing with anticipation. They would wait to see who emerged victorious, then prey on the survivors. 87 ships against our 8, Sarah observed. Not great odds. Numbers aren't everything. watch. Through the ship's communication systems, Zixara broadcast on all frequencies. Vorthok command, you have fired upon a diplomatic vessel during negotiations. This constitutes an act of war under Galactic Accord 7. The mechanical response came immediately. Queen Zixara, our sensors detect organic contamination in your biosignatures. You have been compromised by primitive emotional responses. Submit for processing or be eliminated. Counteroffer, Sarah said, taking control of the communication system. Go to hell. The profanity, translated through alien linguistics, apparently had quite an impact. The Vorthok formation wavered for a moment. They'd never encountered such a direct, emotional response from Dominion leadership. Sarah used their confusion to her advantage. Through her neural link to the ship, she coordinated with the rest of the Dominion fleet. Her human tactical training, evolved from centuries of warfare, merged seamlessly with alien technology. All ships, pattern Delta 7, used their rigidity against them. The Dominion fleet scattered in what appeared to be a panicked rout. The Vorthok pursued in their perfect formations, maintaining their geometric precision even as they chased individual targets, which was exactly what Sarah had counted on. Now, she whispered. The fleeing Dominion ships suddenly reversed course, their biomechanical hulls reconfiguring for maximum firepower. Instead of 8 ships, the Vorthok now faced what appeared to be 8 different vessels, entirely sleeker, more aggressive, bristling with weapons they hadn't possessed moments before. Adaptive hull configuration, Zixara explained through their link. One of our greatest advantages. We can reshape our ships for any tactical situation. The Dominion's opening salvo tore through the Vorthok formation. Their weapons a hybrid of energy and organic projectiles, bypassed the enemy's mechanical shields and struck directly at ship hulls. 3 Vorthok escorts simply ceased to exist. Their atoms scattered across space, but the mechanical beings adapted quickly. Their formation shifted, spreading out to minimize the effectiveness of the Dominion's surprise attack. Return fire came, in precisely calculated patterns, designed to overwhelm any possible evasive maneuvers. Sarah gritted her teeth as their ship shook under incoming fire. They're learning from our tactics in real time. The Vorthok's greatest strength and weakness, they optimize constantly, but they can't truly innovate. Then let's give them something they've never seen before. Sarah reached deep into her human military experience, pulling up a tactic that would have been impossible without her enhanced connection to the ship. During her atmospheric combat training, she'd learned about something called a Pugachev's Cobra, a maneuver where a fighter would suddenly decelerate and flip backward, allowing pursuing enemies to overshoot. But she was going to do it with a spacecraft the size of a city block. Sarah, that's impossible, Zixara said, sensing her intentions. The structural stress would trust me. Their ship suddenly reversed its thrust, flipping end over end in a maneuver that violated every principle of space combat. The pursuing Vorthok dreadnought locked into its attack pattern. Overshot completely, Sarah triggered their main weapons at point-blank range. The Vorthok flagship's hull cracked like an eggshell. Atmosphere and debris erupted from massive breaches as the mechanical crew scrambled to contain the damage. Impossible, came the metallic voice over the communications channel. Organic impulses cannot override tactical programming. That's where you're wrong, Sarah replied, already plotting their next move. Humans don't follow programming. We write our own rules. The battle raged across light minutes of space. The Dominion fleet, now freed from predictable tactics by Sarah's human creativity, began to systematically dismantle the Vorthok formation. Ships that should have been destroyed survived through impossible maneuvers. Attacks came from angles that violated conventional physics, but the mechanical beings weren't helpless. They began to spread out further, using their superior numbers to surround individual Dominion ships. 2 of Zixara's vessels were overwhelmed and destroyed, their crews dying in brief flares of light. We're losing ships faster than we can replace. Them, Zixara observed grimly. Sarah felt the deaths through their neural link. Each lost crew member was someone she'd briefly connected with during the bonding process. The weight of command, the responsibility for every life under her protection, hit her with overwhelming force. I can't. How do you bear it? She gasped. By remembering that their sacrifice means something, and by ensuring it's not in vain.
Yes.
When Sarah noticed the hegemony fleet beginning to move, the organic ships were positioning themselves to attack whichever side emerged victorious from the current battle. They're planning to finish off the survivors, she realized. Yes, standard. Hegemony tactics let others weaken each other, then claim the spoils. Sarah's mind raced, enhanced by her alien capabilities, but guided by human intuition. There was a way to turn this entire situation around, but it would require the kind of insane gambit that only a human would attempt. How loyal is your crew? She asked, completely why. Because I'm about to ask them to do something that will either save us all, or get us killed in the most spectacular way possible. Through their shared consciousness, Sarah outlined her plan. Zixara's initial reaction was pure shock, followed by what could only be described as admiration. It's completely insane, the alien queen said. Is that a no? That's a let's do it. Before I come to my senses, Sarah opened a channel to the entire Dominion fleet. All ships, this is Queen Sarah. Prepare for emergency hull reconfiguration. We're about to show these mechanical bastards what happens when human crazy meets alien technology. What happened next would be discussed in military academies across the galaxy for centuries to come. The remaining Dominion ships began to change, biomechanical hulls flowing like liquid metal. But instead of reconfiguring for combat, they were joining together. Ship after ship linked up, their hulls merging and systems integrating. Within minutes, the 6 surviving vessels had become one massive hybrid ship, unlike anything that had ever existed. It combined the organic adaptability of Dominion technology with the tactical innovations of human military doctrine. What are you doing? Came the panicked mechanical voice of the Vorthok commander. Evolution, Sarah replied simply. The hybrid ship's weapon systems came online, not just the combined firepower of 6 vessels, but something entirely new. The organic components had created targeting systems that could predict enemy movements by reading microgravitational changes. The technological components provided precision that could hit targets at impossible ranges. The remaining Vorthok ships found themselves outgunned, outmaneuvered, and completely outclassed. Their formation broke as they desperately tried to adapt to tactics they couldn't comprehend. But Sarah wasn't done yet, Hegemony Commander. She broadcast on all frequencies. You have 30 seconds to withdraw to minimum safe distance before I demonstrate why it's a bad idea to threaten humanity. The writhing bioships hesitated, their organic neural networks struggling to process this unprecedented situation. 20 seconds. The Hegemony fleet began to withdraw, but slowly, as if testing Sarah's resolve. 10 seconds. They accelerated their retreat. Time's up. The hybrid ship's main weapon fired not at the Hegemony, but at the debris field left by the destroyed Vorthok vessels. The beam struck the metallic wreckage and triggered a chain reaction that turned the scattered debris into an expanding cloud of plasma. The plasma cloud, guided by carefully calculated gravitational fields, swept through the space the Hegemony fleet had just occupied. It wasn't lethal by design, but it delivered a very clear message about the range and precision of the hybrid ship's weapons. The next time, Sarah announced, I won't miss. The Hegemony fleet jumped to hyperspace without another word. In the sudden silence that followed, Sarah became aware of communication signals flooding in from across the galaxy. Word of the battle was already spreading. The impossible hybrid ship, the human alien queen, the tactical innovations that had revolutionized space combat. Well, Zixara said, through their mental link, I think we've made quite an impression. Sarah looked at the tactical display, where the few surviving Vorthok ships were limping away in full retreat. Think they'll be back? Eventually? But not soon, and not without significant changes to their approach. Good. Sarah felt exhaustion settling into her bones. Human fatigue merged with alien emotional drain. How long before Earth finds out about this? They won't for now. We're too far away, and both enemy fleets will want to suppress information about their defeats. But Sarah... Zixar's mental voice grew serious. Everything has changed. You're no longer just protecting humanity, you're reshaping the entire galactic balance of power. Terra nodded. understanding the weight of what they'd accomplished. She was no longer Commander Sarah Chen of Earth's Defense Force. She was Queen Sarah of the Dominion Curler of an interstellar empire, and the bridge between human and alien civilizations. And this was just the beginning. ##. Epilogue. New Horizons 6 months later, Sarah stood on the observation deck of New Haven Station, watching human and Dominion engineers work side by side on the next generation of hybrid spacecraft. The station itself was a marvel, part human ingenuity, part alien technology, creating something that neither species could have built alone. Earth had been quietly contacted through carefully orchestrated coincidences, mysterious technological breakthroughs that advanced human space capability without revealing alien involvement. Humanity was slowly being prepared for eventual contact, but on their own terms and timeline. Regrets? Zixara asked, joining her at the viewport. Even after 6 months of shared consciousness, they still enjoyed spoken conversation. Some, Sarah admitted, missed the simplicity of just being human, but I wouldn't change what we've done. Through their mental link, she could feel Zixara's understanding. The alien queen had changed too, becoming more emotionally complex, more willing to take risks, more ... human. The Vorthok have requested a diplomatic meeting, Zixara reported. They want to discuss adaptive tactical protocols and possible cooperation. Sarah smiled. They want to learn human unpredictability without actually becoming emotional beings themselves. Exactly. And the hegemony has withdrawn from 3 disputed systems rather than risk confrontation with our hybrid fleet. Good. How many humans have volunteered for the integration program? 47 so far. All military volunteers, all fully informed about the process. Captain Webb was among the first applicants. Sarah felt a warmth in her chest at the mention of her old squadron leader. Marcus had taken the revelation of her transformation better than she'd expected, immediately understanding the strategic implications in the other alien civilizations, the ones we haven't met yet, watching, waiting. Some are intrigued by what we represent, others are concerned. Change always creates both opportunity and fear. A soft chime indicated an incoming priority message. Sarah accessed it through her neural link and felt her enhanced senses pick up the excitement in the transmission. It's from the exploration fleet, she announced. They've found something. The message contained sensor data from the edge of known space readings that indicated a massive artificial structure. Clearly alien, but unlike anything the Vorthok hegemony or Dominion had ever built. Builders, Zixara whispered, her bioluminescent patterns flickering with amazement. It has to be. The theoretical first civilization, the ones who supposedly vanished millions of years ago. Sarah studied the data, her human curiosity sparked. By the mystery. Looks like they left us a present, or a test, or a weapon. They looked at each other and smiled. 2 beings from different worlds, different species, different evolutionary paths, but united in their desire to explore the unknown. Shall we investigate? Zixara asked. Try and stop me, Sarah replied. Within hours, their fastest scout ship was prepared for the journey. The vessel itself was a testament to their hybrid civilizations, leak human engineering merged with Dominion. Biotechnology, creating something that could traverse impossible distances while adapting to any environment it encountered as they prepared to depart. Sarah received a message from Earth. It was from her old commander, General Harrison, though he didn't know she was alive to receive it. Unknown benefactors, the message began. We don't know who you are or why you've been helping humanity reach the stars, but our deep space sensors have detected massive energy signatures at the edge of our galaxy. If you're out there, if you're listening, please know that Earth stands ready to face whatever comes next. We've learned from the technology you've shared with us. We're not the same species we were a year ago. We're ready to take our place among the stars. Sarah felt tears on her cheeks, a very human response that still surprised Zixara through their mental link. He knows, Sarah whispered. Somehow he knows we're out here. Humans have always been remarkably intuitive. It's one of your most valuable traits. Should we contact them directly? Tell them what we found? Zixara considered. Not yet. Let them continue to evolve naturally. I think it's time they knew they weren't alone. What do you mean? I mean, it's time for humanity's first official contact with alien civilization. Not with us we're too connected to you for it to feel genuine. But there are others, species, that would welcome peaceful contact. Sarah understood immediately. The Arcturi Collective, the peaceful traders you mentioned. Exactly. They're curious about humans, but have no territorial ambitions. Perfect for first contact. As their ship engaged its hybrid drive systems, bending space-time around them, Sarah felt the weight of responsibility and the thrill of discovery in equal measure. They were heading toward a mystery that could reshape everything they knew about the universe, but they were no longer going alone. Behind them, a small fleet of hybrid ships followed, crewed by humans and Dominion citizens working as equals. Representing a new kind of civilization that transcended species boundaries. You know, Sarah said as the stars stretched into lines. Around them, when I was a kid, I used to dream about exploring the galaxy. And now I'm going to help shape it. Through their mental bond, she felt Zixara's agreement and anticipation. Whatever they found at the edge of space ancient builder artifacts. New alien civilizations, or threats beyond imagination, they would face it together. The universe was vast, dangerous, and full of wonders beyond human or alien comprehension. It was exactly where they belonged, as their ship disappeared into the cosmic unknown. The stars themselves seemed to whisper of adventures yet to come. The alien queen held her human close, both of them bound by love, purpose, and the infinite possibilities that awaited among the stars. The future was unwritten, and they would write it together.